Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I once heard a story about a young man who had a crippling fear of heights. Every time he looked down from a tall building, his heart would race, his palms would sweat, and he'd quickly step back. But one day, he decided to face his fear head on. He signed up for a skydiving class. Now, that's quite a leap, literally. When he finally jumped out of that plane, something incredible happened. He didn't just overcome his fear of heights. He discovered a new passion for adventure. It was a life-changing experience. So why am I telling you this story? Because today I want to talk to you about doing one thing every day that scares you. It's not about becoming fearless. It's about learning to act in spite of fear. It's because on the other side of fear, my friends, lies growth, opportunity, and a life truly lived. Why should you consider this? Well, fear is a natural part of life, but it often holds us back from reaching our full potential. By challenging ourselves daily, we can unlock doors to new possibilities, build resilience, and live more fulfilling lives. Imagine what your life could be like if fear didn't stand in your way. What dreams have you set aside because they seem too daunting? What opportunities have you missed because you were afraid to take that first step? Let's think about this for a moment. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Would you start that business you've been dreaming about? Would you travel to that far-off country you've always wanted to explore? Or maybe you'd simply speak up more in meetings, sharing your ideas and insights. The possibilities are endless when we choose to step out of our comfort zones and face our fears head-on. I want you to take a moment and think about one fear that has been holding you back. It doesn't have to be something monumental. It could be as simple as speaking up in a group, trying a new hobby, or even striking up a conversation with someone new. Now imagine taking just one small step towards overcoming that fear. How would that make you feel? More confident, more empowered, more alive? You see, fear is just a temporary state. It's a feeling that comes and goes, but the courage to act despite fear, that's what defines us. That's what shapes our destiny. Each time we face a fear, no matter how small, we grow a little stronger, a little more resilient. And over time, these small acts of courage add up, transforming us into more confident, capable individuals. Think about the story I shared at the beginning. That young man didn't let his fear of heights stop him. He faced it, and in doing so, he found a new passion, a new zest for life. You have that same power within you, the power to face your fears, to step out of your comfort zone, and to live the extraordinary life you were meant to live. So I challenge each of you today, and commit to doing one thing every day that scares you. It doesn't have to be big. Start small, but be consistent. Make it a habit. Embrace the discomfort, and watch as your life begins to transform in ways you never thought possible. So remember, greatness lies just beyond your fears. Step into your power and live the extraordinary life you were meant to live. You have everything you need within you to succeed. All it takes is that first step. So what will your first step be? Now let's talk about fear. What is it really? Fear is our body's natural response to the unknown, a built-in mechanism that's meant to protect us from danger. It's that feeling you get when you're about to do something unfamiliar or challenging. Your heart races, your palms sweat. And a little voice in your head tells you to back off. But here's the thing, most of the time, the dangers we fear aren't as threatening as our minds make them out to be. What are you afraid of? Is it public speaking? Heights? Rejection? Fear of failure? These are common fears that many of us share. They keep us from trying new things, meeting new people, or even pursuing our dreams. Fear of failure, for instance, can stop you from starting that business you've always dreamed about. Fear of rejection might keep you from asking someone out or sharing your ideas. And the fear of the unknown can prevent you from stepping out of your comfort zone, leaving you stuck in a place of familiarity and safety, but not necessarily happiness or growth. Just imagine for a moment how different your life could be if you weren't held back by these fears. If instead of avoiding what scares you, you faced it head on, what new experiences could you have? What new skills could you learn? What new opportunities could you seize? Fear is a sneaky way of limiting our potential. It creates invisible barriers that we often don't even realize are there. Think about it. How many times have you stopped yourself from doing something because you were afraid of what might happen? Maybe you didn't apply for that dream job because you were afraid you weren't qualified enough. Or perhaps you didn't take that trip because you were afraid of traveling alone. Each time we let fear dictate our choices, we miss out on opportunities to grow, to learn, and to experience life to its fullest. Here's the good news. Fear is not a fixed part of who we are. It's a learned response. And what is learned can be unlearned. We have the power to change our relationship with fear. Instead of seeing it as a barrier, we can view it as a guide, pointing us towards areas where we have the most potential to grow. Think of fear as a compass, directing you towards new experiences and opportunities. Every time you feel that twinge of fear, it's an indication that you're about to step into something new, something that could expand your horizons and enrich your life. Here's a thought-provoking question for you. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? If the fear of failure was no longer an obstacle, what dreams would you pursue? What goals would you set for yourself? Take a moment to really think about that. The possibilities are endless when we're not constrained by fear. Now let's consider the impact of fear on our lives. Fear can keep us from reaching our full potential. It can hold us back from taking risks, trying new things, and even from being our true selves. It's like living in a cage where the bars are made up of all the things we're afraid to face. But the key to that cage is in our hands. We just need the courage to use it, to unlock the door and step out into the world with confidence. Imagine a life where fear doesn't hold you back, where you wake up each day ready to face whatever challenges come your way, knowing that each step you take brings you closer to your goals. That's the kind of life you can have if you choose to face your fears, one small step at a time. So I challenge you to look at fear differently. See it as an opportunity, a chance to grow and to push your boundaries. The next time you feel afraid, take it as a sign that you're on the brink of something amazing. Embrace that feeling. Take a deep breath and take that step forward. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve when you stop letting fear control your life and start using it to propel you towards greatness. Remember, the only thing standing between you and your dreams is the fear of taking that first step. So take it and watch as your world opens up in ways you never imagined. Now let's talk about embracing discomfort. I like to call it the discomfort zone. It's that space just beyond your comfort zone where things feel a bit uneasy, a bit challenging. It's where you're not quite sure of the outcome, where you might stumble a little, but where you're also on the brink of something new and exciting. You see, our comfort zone is like a warm, cozy blanket. It's familiar and safe, but it can also be limiting. It keeps us from exploring new opportunities and reaching our full potential. On the other hand, the discomfort zone is where the magic happens. It's where we learn, grow, and discover what we're truly capable of. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you did something that made you uncomfortable? Maybe it was speaking in front of a crowd, taking on a new project at work, or even trying a new hobby. How did you feel afterward? Probably a little bit proud, a little bit more confident, right? That's the power stepping into the discomfort zone. Then, why should we embrace discomfort? Because that's where personal growth happens. Each time you push yourself to do something uncomfortable, you expand your capabilities. You become more resilient, more adaptable, and more prepared to face life's challenges. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And the more you push yourself, the more you'll realize that you're capable of far more than you ever thought possible. Let's look at some real-life examples of people who embraced discomfort and thrived. Take Thomas Edison. For instance, he faced countless failures while inventing the light bulb. Each failure was uncomfortable, even disheartening, but he didn't give up. He learned from each setback, adjusted his approach, and eventually succeeded. Imagine if he had stayed in his comfort zone, afraid to fail. We might still be lighting our homes with candles. What could you achieve if you embraced discomfort? What new skills could you learn? What new opportunities could you seize? It all starts with a willingness to step out of your comfort zone and into that space where growth happens. I want you to ask yourself, what is one thing I can do today that makes me uncomfortable but could lead to growth? Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting, trying a new workout, or starting a conversation with someone you don't know. It doesn't have to be a huge leap. Even small steps into the discomfort zone can lead to significant growth over time. Remember, discomfort is temporary, but the benefits are long-lasting. Each time you face a fear or take on a new challenge, you build resilience. You learn that you can handle more than you thought, and that builds confidence. And with confidence comes more opportunities to grow and succeed. So embrace discomfort. Step into that space where things feel a little uncertain, a little challenging. It's in those moments that you'll find your true strength and potential. And as you continue to push your boundaries, you'll discover a world of possibilities waiting for you. Let's make a commitment today to do one thing every day that scares us, that pushes us into the discomfort zone. Because it's in those moments of discomfort that we truly find out what we're made of. And that, my friends, is where greatness is born. So are you ready to embrace discomfort and unlock your full potential? Let's take that step together and see where it leads us. Now let's dive into some practical steps you can take to face your fears. The first step is to identify your fears. This might sound simple, but it requires a bit of self-reflection. I want you to take a moment and think about what really scares you. Is it public speaking? Is it starting a new business? Maybe it's something as simple as trying a new activity or talking to someone you've never met before. Write it down. Acknowledging your fears is the first step towards overcoming them. It's like shining a light in a dark room. Once you see what you're dealing with, it's not as scary anymore. Now let's talk about taking small steps. You don't have to conquer your biggest fear all at once. In fact, it's better to start small. Let's say you're afraid of public speaking. You don't have to jump straight into giving a keynote address to hundreds of people. Start by speaking up more in small meetings or practicing in front of a mirror. Gradually build up to larger audiences. Each small step builds your confidence and makes the next step a little easier. Here's a thought for you. What small step can you take today towards facing your fear? It could be as simple as making a phone call you've been dreading or signing up for a class you've been curious about. The key is to take action, no matter how small. Each step forward, no matter how tiny, is progress. Now let's talk about the power of daily practice. There's something incredibly powerful about consistency. When you do something every day, it becomes a habit. And habits have the power to transform your life. I want you to think about taking on a daily challenge. You're doing one thing every day that scares you. It doesn't have to be big. It could be something as simple as striking up a conversation with a stranger, trying a new exercise, or even asking for feedback at work. The goal is to make facing your fears a regular part of your routine. Just imagine the progress you could make if you committed to this practice every day. Over time, you'll find that what once seemed terrifying becomes manageable, even routine. And as you build this habit, you'll see your confidence grow and new opportunities will start to appear. Here's a question for you. What daily challenge can you commit to? What's one small, scary thing you can do each day to push your boundaries? Think about it, write it down, and make a commitment to yourself. Remember, it's the small, consistent actions that lead to big changes over time. Now let's shift our perspective on fear. Instead of seeing fear as a barrier, let's view it as an opportunity. Fear is like a signal telling us that we're about to step into something new, something that has the potential to help us grow. When you feel fear, it's a sign that you're on the brink of growth. It's like standing at the edge of a cliff, looking out at a beautiful view. It's a little scary, but also exciting, full of potential. So how do we shift our mindset? Start by asking yourself, what can I learn from this fear? How can facing this fear help me grow? For example, if you're afraid of public speaking, think about the benefits of overcoming that fear. You could become more confident, more persuasive, and open up new career opportunities. If you're afraid of trying something new, think about the excitement of learning a new skill or discovering a new passion. Let me share a personal story. When I first started speaking, I was terrified of standing in front of a crowd. My heart would race, my hands would shake, and I'd forget what I wanted to say. But I knew that if I wanted to succeed, I had to face that fear. So I started small. I'm speaking in front of small groups, practicing my speeches, and gradually building up to larger audiences. Each time, it got a little easier, and my confidence grew. Now, speaking in front of a crowd is one of my greatest joys. Imagine the same for yourself. What fear can you face today, and how can it help you grow? Remember, fear is not a stop sign. It's a green light telling you to go forward. Each time you face a fear, you become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of handling whatever comes your way. So let's make a commitment today. Let's commit to identifying our fears, taking small steps, embracing daily challenges, and shifting our perspective on fear. Let's see fear not as a barrier, but as a stepping stone to growth and new opportunities. You have the power to transform your life, one small step at a time. All it takes is the courage to face your fears and the commitment to keep moving forward. Are you ready to take that step? Embrace the discomfort, to challenge yourself daily, and to see fear as an opportunity for growth. I believe you are, and I can't wait to see the amazing things you'll achieve when you do. Let's take that first step together and watch as our lives transform in ways we never thought possible. Now let's talk about turning our intentions into actions, because it's not enough to just think about facing our fears. We need a concrete plan to tackle them head on. Think of it as creating a roadmap for your courage. It's the first step in our action plan is break down your fears into manageable steps. Let's say you're afraid of public speaking. Instead of jumping straight into giving a keynote speech, start with something smaller. Maybe it's speaking up in a team meeting or giving a short presentation to a few colleagues. Each small step you take builds your confidence and prepares you for the next challenge. Ask yourself, what small step can I take today to face my fear? Write it down. Maybe it's making a difficult phone call, trying a new workout, or introducing yourself to someone new. The key is to make these steps specific and actionable. By breaking down your fears into smaller tasks, you make them more manageable and less intimidating. Now, let's discuss the importance of having a support system. Facing fears can be daunting, and having a group of supportive people around, you can make all the difference. This could be friends, family, colleagues, or even a mentor. Share your goals with them and let them know how they can help. Maybe you need someone to practice your speech with, or perhaps you need a workout buddy to tackle that new exercise routine. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, who believe in you, and who will hold you accountable. Here's a thought-provoking question for you. Who in your life can you turn to for support? Think about the people who have always been there for you, who lift you up and encourage you to be your best self. Reach out to them and share your goals. Let them be a part of your journey to overcoming fear. Having a support system is like having a safety net. It gives you the confidence to take risks, knowing that there are people who will catch you if you fall. And remember, it's okay to ask for help. We all need a little support from time to time, especially when we're stepping out of our comfort zones. Now, let's talk about the importance of celebrating successes. No matter how small they may seem, each time you face a fear, it's a victory, and it's important to recognize and celebrate these wins. Celebrating your successes boosts your confidence and reinforces the positive behavior, making it more likely that you'll continue to face your fears in the future. Think about the last time you achieved something you were afraid of. How did it feel? Pretty amazing, right? Take a moment to savor that feeling. Each success, no matter how small, is a step towards building a more courageous and confident you. I encourage you to create a system for celebrating your victories. Maybe it's keeping a journal where you record each fear you face and how you overcame it. Or perhaps you reward yourself with something special like a treat or a fun activity each time you tackle a new challenge. The key is to acknowledge your progress and give yourself credit for your bravery. Here's another question for you. How will you celebrate your successes? Think about what makes you feel good, what rewards motivate you, and plan to treat yourself each time you take a step forward. It could be something simple like enjoying a favorite snack or taking time to relax and unwind. Let me share a story. I once knew a man who was terrified of networking events. The idea of walking into a room full of strangers and striking up a conversation made his palms sweat. But he decided to face this fear head on. He created a plan himself. Each week he would attend one networking event, and his goal was to talk to at least 3 new people. He shared his plan with a close friend who agreed to go with him for support. After each event, they would celebrate by grabbing a cup of coffee and talking about the new connections he made. Over time, not only did his fear of networking diminish, but he also built a valuable network of contacts that helped him advance in his career. Imagine doing the same with your fears. By creating a plan, enlisting support, and celebrating your successes, You can turn your fears into opportunities for growth and achievement. So let's make a commitment today. Let's create a concrete action plan to tackle our fears. Let's reach out to our support networks and ask for their encouragement and accountability. And let's celebrate each and every victory along the way. Because every step we take towards facing our fears brings us closer to the person we're meant to be. Confident, courageous, and unstoppable. Are you ready to take action? To face your fears with a clear plan, supportive allies, and a spirit of celebration? I believe you are. Together, let's turn our fears into stepping stones and create a life filled with courage, growth, and endless possibilities. Let's take that first step today and watch as our world opens up in ways we never imagined. Now let's get a little introspective. I want to ask you some questions that might stir up your thoughts and challenge your current way of thinking. What are your biggest dreams? Think about it. What have you always wanted to do but held back because of fear? Starting your own business. Is it traveling the world? Is it writing a book or learning a new skill? What would you do if fear wasn't a factor? To take a moment and really visualize that dream and picture yourself achieving it. What does it feel? Feels pretty amazing, doesn't it? Now, what's stopping you from making that dream a reality? Is it the fear of failure? The fear of the unknown? The fear of what others might think? Let's flip that around. What if I told you that the only thing standing between you and your dream is the willingness to take the first step? What if I told you that fear is not a stop sign, but a green light, a signal that you're on the verge of something great? What's the worst that could happen if you faced your fear? Often, our minds imagine the worst-case scenario, but the reality is usually far less dramatic. Maybe you stumble, maybe you don't get it right the first time, but so what? Each attempt, each step forward brings you closer to your goal and further from your fear. Now, here's another question. What's the best that could happen if you faced your fear? Imagine the possibilities. Success, growth, new opportunities, and the satisfaction of knowing you didn't let fear hold you back. Isn't that worth the risk? Let me share a story. I once met a woman who had a deep fear of speaking in public. She avoided it at all costs, even turning down opportunities for promotion at work because they required presentations. But one day, she decided enough was enough. She asked herself, what would my life look like if I overcame this fear? The answer was clear. She'd have more opportunities, more confidence, and more control over her career. So she started small. She practiced speaking in front of a mirror, then to a small group of friends, and gradually to larger groups. Each time, she asked herself, what's the best that could happen? And with each step, her fear diminished, her confidence grew, and she eventually landed the promotion she had once feared. Think about that for yourself. What fear is holding you back? And what amazing things could you achieve if you overcame it? Take a moment to reflect on this and write down your thoughts. What are you afraid of losing if you take a risk? Often fear is tied to the fear of loss. Loss of security, loss of approval, loss of comfort. But consider this. What are you losing by not taking the risk? You might be missing out on new experiences, personal growth, and the chance to achieve your dreams. So how do we shift this mindset? You start by focusing on what you have to gain, not what you might lose. Each time you face a fear, you gain experience, resilience, and the courage to tackle even bigger challenges. It's a positive feedback loop. The more you face your fears, the stronger and more capable you become. Let's ask ourselves another question. How will you feel a year from now if you don't take action? Will you be satisfied with staying in your comfort zone? Or will you look back with regret, wondering what could have been? The pain of regret is often much greater than the discomfort of facing a fear. Now let's flip that. How will you feel a year from now if you start taking action today? Imagine the sense of accomplishment, the growth, and the new opportunities that will come your way. Picture yourself looking back with pride, knowing that you took control of your life and faced your fears head on. Remember, every big achievement starts with a single step, and each step you take builds momentum, making the next step a little easier. It's like climbing a mountain, one step at a time, and before you know it, you're standing at the summit looking out at the incredible view. So I encourage you to take that first step today. It doesn't have to be a giant leap, just a small, manageable step towards your dream. And remember to celebrate each step forward, no matter how small. Each one is a victory, a testament to your courage and determination. Let's make a commitment together. Let's commit to facing our fears, taking action, and embracing the opportunities that come our way. Because life is too short to let fear hold us back. We have the power to create the life we want, one courageous step at a time. Are you ready to take that step? Ask yourself the tough questions, to reflect on your dreams, and to take action despite your fears. I believe you are. And I can't wait to see the incredible things you'll achieve when you do. Let's face our fears together and create a future filled with possibility, growth, and endless potential. Let's take that step today and see where it leads us. Now let's dive into some real-life examples and success stories to see how facing fear has transformed lives. Take Thomas Edison, for example. Here was a man who faced failure after failure while inventing the light bulb. It said he failed over 1,000 times before getting it right. Can you imagine the persistence, the courage it took to keep going despite so many setbacks? Edison didn't see each failure as a reason to give up. Instead, he saw them as steps towards success, learning something new with each attempt. Imagine if he had given up after the first 100 tries. We might still be sitting in the dark. Let's not forget Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. Do you know he was cut from his high school basketball team? Imagine the disappointment, the fear of not being good enough. But instead of letting that define him, he used it as fuel to work harder, to push his limits. Jordan's story is a testament to the power of resilience and the importance of embracing challenges, no matter how daunting they seem. You have that same potential within you. Think about your own fears and challenges. What could you achieve if you faced them head on? What new heights could you reach if you embraced discomfort and used it as a catalyst for growth? What would your life look like if you took a page from Edison or Jordan's book? Imagine embracing your fears, pushing through discomfort, and achieving the success you've always dreamed of. It's possible, and it starts with taking that first step. Now let's talk about some practical takeaways from these stories. First, persistence is key. Edison didn't stop after a few failures. He kept going, learning from each mistake. This teaches us the importance of staying persistent, even when things don't go as planned. Each setback is an opportunity to learn and improve. Think about how you can apply these lessons to your own life. What is one fear you can face today? How can you embrace discomfort and use it as a tool for growth? Remember, each small step you take towards facing your fears brings you closer to your goals. Are you ready to take that step? To embrace the challenges, to learn from failures, and to unlock your full potential? I believe you are. Let's take inspiration from these incredible stories and create our own success stories. Let's face our fears together and watch as our lives and transform in ways we never thought possible. The power is in your hands. Let's use it to create a future filled with growth, achievement, and endless possibilities. As we come to the end of our discussion today, let's take a moment to recap the essence of what we've explored together. We've talked about the nature of fear, how it often holds us back, and the incredible growth that comes from stepping into our discomfort zone. We've seen how facing our fears can lead to personal growth, resilience, and new opportunities. And we've heard inspiring stories of individuals who have thrived by embracing their fears and turning them into stepping stones for success. Now let's think about what this means for you. Imagine the potential you could unlock by facing just one fear every day. It doesn't have to be a big fear. It could be something small, something manageable. But each time you take that step, you're building your confidence, your resilience, and your capacity to handle whatever life throws your way. I want to challenge each of you to make a commitment today. A commitment to do one thing every day that scares you. It could be speaking up in a meeting, trying a new activity, or reaching out to someone you've been hesitant to connect with. Whatever it is, make a promise to yourself to take that step. And you ask yourself, what can I do today that will push me out of my comfort zone? Write it down, share it with someone you trust, and take that step. Remember, every big achievement starts with a small step, and each step you take brings you closer to your dreams. Imagine a year from now. Looking back on all the fears you face and the growth you've achieved, picture yourself more confident, more resilient, and ready to take on new challenges with courage and determination. That's the power of facing your fears head on. Let me leave you with this thought. You have the power to transform your life. It all starts with the decision to take that first step, to face your fears, and to embrace the opportunities that come your way. You have everything you need within you to succeed. The courage, the resilience, and the potential to achieve great things. So are you ready to take that step? To commit to facing one fear every day and to watch as your life transforms in incredible ways. I believe you are. Let's make a promise to ourselves today to embrace our fears, to push our boundaries, and to live the extraordinary lives we were meant to live. Remember, greatness lies just beyond your fears. So step into your power, embrace the discomfort, and let your courage lead the way. You have the strength, the determination, and the potential to achieve anything you set your mind to. Let's take that first step together and see where it leads us. Thank you, and let's face our fears with confidence and excitement for the amazing future that awaits us.